Good morning. I'm Kristen Miller, President and CEO of the Santa Barbara South Coast Chamber of Commerce, and I'm delighted to be here today hosting the Goleta State of the City. It's been an unbelievably challenging year. No one could have predicted the upheaval in our lives, our businesses, and our communities when we originally scheduled the Goleta State of the City for April 2020. Many things are different now, including this presentation today. The Goleta Chamber of Commerce merged with the Santa Barbara and Carpinteria Chambers of Commerce to form a powerful and effective organization with 1,100 members and a unified voice for business. The newly merged chamber quickly assessed what businesses needed most and pivoted our program of work to new programs, including a 4-part series of State of the City presentations, culminating with a State of the County event. We are proud to be the leading business support organization providing timely, relevant, and trustworthy information to inform our business community and members and provide a comprehensive update on the ever-changing business climate. Our local leaders from Goleta will give us insights on healthcare and the way our local healthcare heroes are saving our lives. We'll also hear from the commercial sector about the changes in the way we shop, dine, and gather at the Camino Real Marketplace. We'll hear from one of our largest employers about shifting to remote workplaces and amplifying the omni-channel retail experience. And lastly, the largest agency in Goleta providing critical infrastructure to all of these sectors is the Water District, and we'll hear their update as well. In all of the profound changes we have experienced, some things remain steady. The beautiful landscape we live in, illustrated perfectly by this picturesque spot here at the Ritz-Carlton Bacara. Your Chamber of Commerce remains not only stable, but thriving and more active than ever before. An industrial core in Goleta that provides high-paying jobs in clean technology, pivoting and thriving during a crisis. And innovative businesses who worked tirelessly to adapt and change and be a resource for their customers and the community. We will get through this together. We have gotten good at responding to a disaster. And while we may have the scars to prove it in industries like restaurants, childcare, and entertainment, we will come out the other side with heart and dignity. We're so grateful to Stephen Janicek and the team here at the Ritz-Carlton Bacara for hosting us today. Please join me in welcoming Stephen Janicek.
Good afternoon from the Ritz-Carlton Bacara here on the sunny shores of Goleta and the Gaviota coast of California. My name is Steve Janicek, and I'm honored to be the general manager of this resort and very excited to welcome everyone to the State of the City for the community of Goleta. What a year 2020 has been. Ever since March, every component of this community and the world has been impacted some way by this pandemic. The tourism industry, the one I enjoy, along with many other affiliated and extended partners, have certainly seen the dramatic and in some cases devastating impact on our business. Lives have been lost, careers upended, and our community, states, and countries certainly challenged like never before. Yet despite this, we see and must believe in the better days are ahead. And together we are stronger and seek opportunities to support and help each other during times like these. And I believe that has been happening these past many months, and I'm hopeful that is the blueprint to move forward. As we approach next week's Thanksgiving holiday and soon the festive season, let's all make sure we remain diligent with our safety and common sense protocols and practice and hold each other accountable to masks, social distancing, and aligned with our local, county, and state health guidelines. As I close, I also want to suggest that this holiday season, maybe more than ever before, that we pause and we truly give thanks to so many who have given so much. We have the rare and hopefully never to be repeated opportunity to remember just how important a true sense of community, friendships, and family are. And to use this time on how we can all move forward and let us with our best days being ahead. So from all of the ladies and gentlemen at the Ritz-Carlton Santa Barbara, we say happy holidays and thank you for the opportunity to serve you and to be part of this wonderful community. Thank you.
Thank you, Stephen. We also want to thank our partners at Lure Digital for filming today's presentation. Productions like this could not happen without the support of our generous sponsors, and I want to give a heartfelt thank you to all of our sponsors who have made this production possible. Our 5 presenting sponsors are Cox, Favre Large Archibald Spray, Montecito Bank and Trust, Newshawk, and the Tobes Group. Our corporate sponsors include American Riviera Bank, Atlantic Aviation, Brown & Brown Insurance, Brownstein Hyatt Farber Schreck, Chevron, Community West Bank, Exxon Mobil, FLIR Systems, Goleta Valley Cottage Hospital, Hollister Village, Latitude 34 Technologies, LinkedIn, Marburg Industries, Courtyard by Marriott, Newshawk, Pacific Premier Bank, Plains All-American Pipeline, the Ritz-Carlton Bacara, Sansum Clinic, Santa Barbara City College Foundation, Signature Flight Support, Southern California Edison, Spherion, UCLA Health, UC Santa Barbara, Village Properties. Thank you. Now it's my pleasure to introduce one of our presenting sponsors, Trevor Large of Favre Large Archibald and Spray.
Hello. For those who don't know me, my name is Trevor Large. I'm proud to be an attorney and partner at Favre Large Archibald and Spray. Like most of you, our last 8 months has been dominated by the coronavirus and all of the fallout and the responses to it. During this time, we've worked hard to help clients navigate things like shutdowns, PPP loans, and ever-changing regulations. It's an extremely challenging time for businesses and individuals alike, and I believe that our firm's work has helped our clients adapt as we continue to deal with uncertainties. But that work is also why I'm proud to help the Chamber on its road to recovery plan. The Chamber understands the need for certainty in any business environment. The Chamber is working hard alongside local governments to put forth a plan for business reopening and recovery. It's an industry-specific plan that has already involved hours of interviews and research, and will continue to take more time as the plan is finalized. Like many local companies, Deckers Brands has seen the need to help local businesses as well. Their CEO, Dave Powers, who has been in that role since 2016, has over 20 years of experience in merchandising, product and marketing development, and leading global direct-to-consumer operations and wholesale businesses. Prior to Deckers Brands, he has worked in leadership roles for companies like Nike and Gap. But outside of his corporate roles, Dave Powers has been a driving force behind assistance to small and local businesses. His work on the Better Together Fund has been instrumental to helping many survive this pandemic. And to talk to you more about this effort, I am pleased to introduce CEO of Deckers Brand, Mr. Dave Powers.
Thank you, Trevor. It's great to be here today, and I appreciate the time to talk about what we're doing at Deckers to work through the current situation and share some of the learnings that we have. There's a few things that I want to share with you, and I'll recap them real quick for you now. But the first is to just acknowledge that this has been tough. You know, it's been really hard on our employees, our organization, our business. We've been managing through, but it hasn't been easy. And I just want to acknowledge the fact that I'm sure everybody's going through the same thing, and that we're here for you at the end of the day. The second is, and there's a silver lining in some of this for us, is that we've been able to find opportunities in the adversity. You know, for us, challenges present opportunities for us to adapt, to innovate, and to grow stronger together, and we've certainly been doing with that. The other thing is that we have really learned how to reconnect with our consumers. It's been a real game changer for our business. We've adapted our communication style to our consumers, and they've responded very positively. Our employees need hope, they need empathy, they're looking for transparency, and they're looking for purpose. And that's been a real focus of ours throughout all of this, to make sure that our employees feel safe and protected and supported. And the last thing that we have really noticed through this, and I've always believed this, but it's come to light in the last few months, is that being of service to others is a great way to provide a sense of higher purpose and combat the feelings of stress and anxiety and exhaustion it can uplift your spirits, and we've certainly learned that through our giving back to the community, and I'll share some of that as well. So what have we learned through this? There's been some challenges, but we've also had some learnings. First is the challenges have been real, and we're feeling it at a personal level and at a company level. And we really had to buckle down. When this thing happened at the beginning of March, we immediately went to a work from home environment. We've been there since then. But it was important that our people felt safe. They were scared, they were nervous, they weren't sure if they're going to be able to keep their job or not. And we really had to pay attention to how they were feeling and be there to support them through all of this. The hardest part of this has really been on the individuals and the mental and the physical strain it's had on our employees and their families. And it gets in the way, obviously, of their ability to be there for their families and also be there for the business and each other. And so we've really had to put some things in place to support them and let them know that they can worry less about the business side of things, that they're secure, so that they can then focus on taking care of their families and bringing their best selves to work at the end of the day. We put some things in place. We implemented summer Fridays, which means half-day Fridays through the rest of the year. We gave everybody in the company access to an app called Headspace, which is a mental wellness app. It has meditation and things you can do to disconnect and reground yourself, and that's been helpful. And we're just communicating a lot, as much as we can, obviously. But we ultimately feel that there is more good that came out of this situation from a business perspective than there is negatives. And so some of the things that we've seen through this as a result of really the work from home environment is that we really had to focus on what matters most to the business. And that focus has served us well. We've taken a lot of things out of the business that we normally would do, such as travel and low priority work, and we focus on the things that are really going to move the needle for us. We've also been able to come closer together as a global organization, believe it or not. But with Zoom and consistent meetings, I'm doing daily meetings with my leadership team and weekly meetings with a broader audience. We've become a closer community and a closer team as we're working through this, which has really served us well. We also really ramped up the level of communication. I've been doing weekly videos for the organization that we've shared globally to keep people connected. We've gone to virtual brand conferences and sales meetings, and there's been a lot of efficiencies that we've made as a result of those. But what's really great is that we actually know each other better. We spend more time with each other on a low-key environment. We're working from home, we're seeing each other in homes, we're meeting each other's kids and dogs and becoming more human through all this, which is having a positive effect actually on each other and our business at the end of the day. Ultimately, we're going to return to the office, and we have a business that requires most of our people to be in the office, but we're going to be much more flexible. We're going to be flexible with time commitments and meetings and allowing people to take time and work from home if they need to going forward. We don't have a perfect answer here yet, but we are going to be working from home for quite some time, but we do think there's some value in being flexible going forward in this new environment. There's also been some significant cost savings, and that's been good because it's allowed us to protect our employees and our business. And what we said from the beginning of all this is we're going to be tight on our expenses, we're going to cut costs in order to not have to lay people off or cut back on pay per people, and also be able to increase the expenses of marketing to drive our brands. And we wanted to come through this stronger. Managing through the unique business environment, first and foremost, has been our biggest challenge. In regards to the business, as I said, we made a decision early on that we're going to focus on doing what's right for the business and protect our employees. And so far, that has served us really well. In fact, we just finished our second quarter in our fiscal year, and it was a record quarter for us, which is shocking to say in the middle of this pandemic and all the challenges we're in, but it was our best quarter from a top line and bottom line perspective. And obviously that feels good from a business perspective, but it's really motivating for our employees, and it shows them that their hard work and focus is really paying off. And it's led into increased motivation going forward, even though people are getting tired and worn out. Our online business has been a strength. We've been working on building our e-commerce engine for quite some time over the last 3 to 4 years. and that's paid off, but we also have shifted marketing investment to be able to drive that. And it's been a huge part of our growth and our profitability over the last quarter. Our online business is doing well, but we're also working closely with our smaller business partners, our wholesale partners. They're critical to our brands and our business and our success. And we're reaching out to them with different things like credit terms and dating and increased marketing efforts to help drive traffic to their stores and their businesses. And that's been very productive as well. And they're grateful for the partnership through all this at the same time. But I will say the real game changer for our business is our ability to shift our marketing approach to really connecting with our consumers. Traditionally, we're promoting the brands, we're promoting the products, and we're telling people, what they should buy. The teams did an incredible job in the middle of the summer to really shift our conversations to be much more in line with what our consumers were going through on a daily basis. Showing empathy for our consumers, having conversations about them, showing support for frontline workers and frontline heroes, embracing the Black Lives Matter movement and supporting our communities that way. That really gave our consumers a sense of engagement and belief and support in our brands that we have never seen before. And they're spending more time on our websites, they're spending more time on our social channels, and it's demonstrated to us that having a real conversation with our consumer trumps everything else. No pun intended there, of course. And then we started telling real stories about ourselves, our brands, people that we are engaged with the brands, and they've really responded incredibly well to our messaging about what we're doing to help the planet and our sustainability efforts in ways that we can demonstrate that we care about our people and the planet. If I had to give some advice to small businesses in town that are really going to be struggling and continue to struggle, especially in this holiday period, is reach out to your customers. Really get to know your customers. Reach out to them through social channels, through emails, through marketing, phone calls, whatever it is, because you're not going to have the natural traffic flow to your business as you usually have. But if you connect with your consumers, you let them know that you're there, you're open, you're safe, you have a reason to come visit, they will show up and they will support you. And I really believe that. And we've been doing the same thing with our consumers and giving them reasons to engage with the brands at the same time, and that's been paying off. Obviously, we don't want everybody flocking to Amazon for their holiday shopping. We want them to shop local. We're encouraging that, but I would definitely encourage all of you to use your marketing tools and your social media tools to drive traffic to your stores and engage with your business any way you can. The other thing that I think has been really powerful for us is that we've realized that there's an ability to find a higher purpose and hope and motivation through giving back to your community. And at Deckers, we've always taken a really engaged role with our community, especially in Goleta. And we really ramped this up over the last 6 to 8 months, where we've been donating to various charities. But one thing we did recently is we held our first ever, what we're calling our Act of Kindness event. It's a global event for all our employees around the globe. We gave everybody a week to do service in their communities. And we did it virtually, in person where we could. And the result of that was over 2,000 volunteer hours around the globe within that 1 week, which is 100 more hours than we did in the entire year last year, supporting over 200 global charities and many in the Santa Barbara community. It was an incredible team effort. And the thing that we realized out of this is that there was great sense of hopefulness and pride and ways of combating stress and exhaustion by giving of yourself and giving back to the community. It's been really powerful for us, and it's definitely something we're going to continue to do. The other way that we have tried to show up for our community is giving back through donations. And at the beginning of this pandemic, we sat down as a leadership team and said, what can we do to give back to the community? Because they're going to be struggling. They're going to be struggling, with the social services, unemployment, the businesses. And we really came down to the fact that, the businesses, small businesses in this county and the city of Goleta are really the lifeblood of our community, and we need to support them. So Deckers put in a fund. We ended up calling it the Santa Barbara Better Together Fund. And we've been raising money. We've now raised and donated up to over $1 million to local small businesses, many of those, 19 of those specifically in Goleta, with grants. And we wanted to make sure it was grants versus loans so that it wasn't a burden for the businesses in the future, because we wanted them to survive this pandemic and to be able to thrive after. You can go visit that on the Santa Barbara Foundation, who's been a great support of ours, as well as we'll be launching our own website for the Santa Barbara Fund in the next few weeks, which you can learn more on that. We're in this for the long haul. We're committed to it. Deckers is behind us on this. And we just want you to know that we're here for you, and we're doing everything we can to make sure that the small business community stays vibrant here. We continue to employ people and give people a reason to stay in Goleta. So if you want to find out more, go to @SBBetterTogether on Instagram, and you also find us on Facebook as well. You can learn more, understand how to donate, and actually learn a lot about how we're helping businesses and what it means to some of the small businesses in the community. Just to close, I want you to know that Deckers is here for the community. You can count on us in good times and in bad, and we've committed to that. We will always be here for the community, whether business is good or whether business is bad. Our doors are always open if you have any questions or you need any help or you're looking for partners and things. I strongly believe that we are all interconnected as a community and a business in our success, and that we depend on each other. And as we say at Deckers, our mantra is we're better together, and we'll get through all this. And I truly believe that. I'm grateful for the opportunity to engage with this community and all of you. Thanks for your support, and I hope everybody stays safe and healthy through the holiday season, and take care.
I'm Bill McFadden, founder and publisher of NewsHawk, Santa Barbara County's 24/7 go-to source for local news. As all of you know, 2020 has been a bewildering series of ups and downs. Okay, mostly downs. For our community and for far too many of our local businesses, our employees, our families, and our neighbors. From the coronavirus crisis and the self-inflicted economic disaster, to protests over racism and police brutality, to extreme wildfires and weather, to a most peculiar presidential election, this year's high-stakes impacts have been far greater than anyone could have anticipated. The long-reaching effects of 2020 are being felt both locally and globally, individually and organizationally. And yet, one thing is certain: the need and the hunger for reliable, trusted public service news is stronger than ever. Our readers trust NewsHawk, and especially at a time like this, they look to us to be a constant. I'm proud to say that we have fulfilled that expectation and then exceeded it. Almost every day since mid-March, we've been reporting exhaustively on the COVID-19 crisis and its short and long-term public health and economic impacts on Santa Barbara County. Because we kept pushing for more information, local public health officials began providing more details about who was being afflicted and what was being done to stem the spread. We've also stayed after the economic catastrophe created with Governor Gavin Newsom's initial stay-at-home order to flatten the curve and the perpetual chaos from the threats, uncertainties, and contradictory shifts in California's reopening blueprint. Now we're deep into the plans and challenges of getting our children not just back in class, but actually back in school. While NewsHawk has been diligently keeping all of our community informed, the Santa Barbara South Coast Chamber of Commerce has been just as diligent about keeping business in business. As co-chairman of the recently merged Goleta, Santa Barbara, and Carpinteria Valley Chambers of Commerce, I'm just as proud of the work our chamber staff, our board, and our members have been doing. On an ambitious scale, we are marshaling our strength and amplifying the voice of business through our roadmap to recovery. More directly, we've been a vital source of support for our members through initiatives as simple as our successful Masks for Biz program. If this enduring disaster has taught us anything, it's the value of being nimble, entrepreneurial, and adaptable. These traits, as a matter of fact, have been hallmarks of our next speaker throughout his tenure, but most especially throughout the difficulties of 2020. I'm honored to introduce my very good friend, Mark Ingalls, property manager of what really is the community center of Goleta, Camino Real Marketplace. Thank you.
Thank you, Bill, for your introduction. I want to thank you and the NewsHawk's dedicated team of professional journalists for working tirelessly to report relevant news accurately and timely to our community. NewsHawk is our community's go-to for factual news and information. I'm honored to be speaking today on behalf of Goleta's business community to report the state of the city in the retail and restaurant sectors. In this crazy year of 2020, over the last few years, California has battled unprecedented natural disasters on an unimaginable scale that have challenged our very survival. None of these challenges to date have tested us like the COVID-19 pandemic has and continues to. We all have our stories of sleepless nights and constant questioning of what's coming next. The playbook seems to be missing a few chapters. It makes me wish I wouldn't have gifted my book, Pandemic for Dummies. The good news for Goleta is, unlike our neighbors to the south, Goleta shopping centers are anchored with retail businesses deemed essential: warehouse and retail, grocery, home improvement, and hardware. In the absence of a traditional downtown in Goleta, Goleta relies on its shopping centers for the diverse tenant mix and service offerings. 2019 brought several new businesses to Goleta: Miners Hardware, Target, and CVS, which have helped to solidify Goleta as a retail destination for the South Coast. Unfortunately, I was unable to obtain sales tax information for the city of Goleta for a year-over-year comparison. My report today is supported by the data collected from our tenants in the marketplace, as well as conversations with several retail business owners located in Goleta. 2020 started out strong for Camino Real Marketplace. The economy in general was strong, and our retail and restaurant sectors were optimistic for another solid year. General elections tend to offer a glimpse at what changes and impacts to the economy election results could bring. Never has an election been filled with more speculation. Occupancy in our shopping center in 2020 was hovering about 99.25% overall, a little less than the 100% mark for most of 2019. With interest in our shopping center for new tenants continuing to outpace available space. The one retail vacancy that we currently have as a result of Pier 1 imports leaving was a result of bankruptcy and not COVID-19 casualty. It has provided us with the opportunity to enter into lease negotiations with a very exciting new national tenant, which we hope to be able to announce in early 2021. The right hook from the COVID pandemic hit square on the chin of the U.S. following Governor Newsom's state of the emergency executive order issued on March 19th, directing all residents to stay at home and prohibited all but essential businesses to remain open. This sent shockwaves through the economy and stunned the consumer. A few retail sectors were deemed essential during the shutdown and permitted to remain open for business, including restaurants serving food to go only. The second quarter was filled with confusion for business and consumers. Threats of supply chain disruption in essential consumer products led to a panic buying and long lines, causing anchor tenants like Costco and Home Depot to realize double-digit increases in sales for 2020 second quarter over 2019 second quarter. Most all other retail categories in the second quarter saw 75 to 100% decreases in sales for the same period. A few retail categories like movie theaters and gyms were forced to shutter their businesses with no clear guidelines for reopening. Information was coming in waves. Mixed messages and a lack of clear information made it difficult for businesses to pivot, not knowing if the changes and modifications they would need to make would be temporary or longer lasting. Consumers were challenged as well to navigate and comply with the new restrictive mandates imposed on businesses and consumers, which challenged consumers' confidence. During this time, we worked closely with our tenants to help disseminate information and remain in compliance to be open and operate safely. We assisted our restaurant tenants in obtaining PPP loans and worked individually with each on rent deferrals, payment schedules, and all the while encouraging them to take whatever measures they needed to remain open for business, as we believed closing, even briefly, would be more damaging and difficult than having to rehire, re-inventory, and reconnect with their customers. At the same time, we were encouraging our tenants to take the time to think outside of the box and their normal business practices, to look into new services that they could provide to their tenants, to their customers. As opposed to just managing the day-to-day operations of the shopping center, it caused us as the property management office to look at ways that we could assist our tenants and act as a hub for information and explore novel ways to get their goods and services out to those that needed them. I'm pleased to report that we were able to keep 100% of our staff on payroll and at work. We looked at every possible way to reduce operational costs by micromanaging lighting, trash, recycling pickups, and adjusting vendor maintenance service levels to reflect any decreases in the overall volumes in the shopping center. As we moved into the third quarter, we were pleasantly surprised with the overall amount of foot traffic at the shopping center, and sales numbers steadily began creeping back while consumers regained confidence to shop and dine again safely with restrictions and masks and social distancing in place. Third quarter sales remained brisk for our anchor tenants like Costco, Home Depot, and Best Buy, which continued to make and beat their projected plans. Most of our restaurant and food tenants have steadily increased sales on average to 75 to 80% of their pre-COVID numbers. With the recent spike in COVID cases in Santa Barbara County, more uncertainty is back. However, we feel we are better prepared to meet the challenge of the sudden changes, new restrictions, and mandates, which have been imposed on our tenants, having been here before and better equipped to meet the challenges. I'd like to introduce Arie Roy, Camino Real Marketplace Tenant Coordinator and Marketing Manager, to share some of the specific ways we have worked with our tenants to support them during this pandemic, as well as some retail consumer trends that we are seeing.
Thank you, Mark. As Governor Newsom began putting in place recommendations and guidelines early on that were changing hourly, we knew we needed to act fast to ensure our tenants were given the most up-to-date and accurate information. Our office created a platform for our tenants to communicate amongst each other in real time. This communication platform allowed us to receive live updates from our tenants with any changes to their operations and insight on how each business was adapting in real time. The Chamber has done an excellent job serving as an informational hub for its members, sharing relevant and important information regarding reopening. Communication and access to up-to-date information has been extremely important in navigating closures, reopenings, and capacity guidelines for our tenants. Before moving on, we'd like to thank the Chamber for all their great work helping our business community stay afloat this year. As ordinances and conditions continue to change, it was a priority for us to remain a safe, spacious, and inviting environment for our consumers. To create this, we worked with each of our tenants individually and helped them reimagine how their business could succeed in our new state of normal. Just a few examples of how we adjusted to this current state are: we created an outdoor yoga space with fencing and sunshades for Core Power Yoga when indoor operations were closed, expanded our dining tenants' outdoor capacity when indoor dining was closed and indoor capacity restrictions were put in place. We created a pedestrian walking path and stored all of our dining tenants' excess indoor furniture to help them create an inviting space that didn't feel temporary for their guests. Now more than ever, it is important to identify and understand consumer trends, buying patterns, and consumer needs, and have the flexibility to adjust quickly and adapt to best serve our customers. Consumers continue to shift to online shopping across almost every category. Digital and contactless services are continuing to increase, with more than half of the new increased users reporting that they will continue their online shopping behaviors post-COVID-19. The graph on your screen shows consumers' use of online shopping for specific items and categories during COVID and the expected growth after the pandemic ends. For example, the purchasing of household supplies online is expected to increase 50% post-COVID-19. Our retail tenants have adjusted to these recent trends and now offer online ordering with curbside pickup, and some have even partnered with local delivery services to allow your items to be delivered to your doorstep on the same day of purchase. In the dining sector, there was a time when our tenants had to solely rely on takeout orders, with indoor and outdoor dining being closed. With most of our tenants not having any online ordering system set up or any delivery method in place pre-pandemic. In the US, 42% of restaurants added delivery services to their offerings during the pandemic, and 31% of those restaurants plan to continue investing in a delivery service post-COVID. Our dining tenants at the marketplace have added online ordering to their website platforms, curbside pickup, and partnered with local delivery services, and even modified their menus to appeal to the consumer in our new normal, such as adding family meals and items specifically that travel well for those choosing takeout or delivery options. Originally developed as part of the overall Camino Real project and our proud neighbor, we would also like to touch on a few updates from Gersh Park, Goleta's regional 13-acre park. When playgrounds were closed, group sports were not able to be played, and working from home was mandated, community members continue to utilize and enjoy the park more than ever. The pandemic created an opportunity for the park to be used to fill those needs in the community. While school was in session via Zoom, the park worked with Just Community Central Coast and hosted a learning pod program. While indoor gyms were closed, the park hosted spiral gymnastics and gave the opportunity for young gymnasts to continue to exercise and do what they love outdoors at the park. Throughout the pandemic, there have been signs of life at the park, and we are excited for what the future holds. We would like to thank our neighbors, Gersh Park, for all they do and continue to do for the community. I will now turn it back over to Mark to wrap up with a few closing remarks.
In conclusion, it is clear that the business of delivering retail goods and services has reached an inflection point shaped by competitive challenges transforming the retail industry before our eyes. COVID-19 has only accelerated this pace of change as we struggle to re-engage the retail consumer impacted by COVID-19, distracted by the convenience of digital shopping and offerings and the continued growth of e-commerce. Forward-thinking small businesses and retailers and shopping centers owners will need to aggressively compete for consumers' engagement. More importantly, we must be willing to listen to and respond to consumers' needs and wants and be willing and open to make the changes. COVID-19 has only accelerated this pace of change as we struggle to re-engage the retail consumer impacted by COVID-19, distracted by the convenience of digital shopping offerings and the continued growth of e-commerce. Forward-thinking businesses, retailers, and shopping center owners will need to aggressively compete for consumer engagement. More importantly, we must be willing to listen and respond to consumers' needs and wants, and be willing and open to making the changes. For change will not be an option, it will be a requirement for survival in 2021. We realize there will be businesses that will not survive the casualty of the pandemic, but those that survive will be more resilient in facing future challenges. We remain optimistic for the future of retail in Goleta and to a time we can return to a sense of something more familiar. Between the pandemic and the crazy election year, the only thing that has remained constant is uncertainty. I know we would all welcome a little predictability and stability to end the year. Maybe we should make the first rule of 2021 to not talk about 2020. On behalf of Camino Real Marketplace and all of our tenants, we would like to thank the community for its patronage over this last year. And we would like to thank the Chamber for its commitment to leadership and supporting our local business community during this unprecedented and challenging year.
Hello everyone, I'm Lauren Hanson. I'm a board member at the Goleta Water District, and I currently serve as board president. The district is very happy to be taking part in the Goleta State of the City event, and we appreciate the Chamber's invitation. Just a bit of background. The Goleta Water District is an independent government agency that was established in 1944. We celebrated the district's 75th anniversary last year. The district is big. It spans more than 29,000 acres. It encompasses a large part of the South Coast from the western edge of the city of Santa Barbara all the way out to El Capitan. The district's distribution system uses 270 miles of pipeline and more than $1 billion of infrastructure to provide water to almost 90,000 people, including the entire city of Goleta. We're proud to serve the people, the agricultural and other commercial interests, and the government of the city of Goleta. We're also proud to serve the university, Isla Vista, and just about all of the rest of the Goleta Valley. Today, I'm here to provide the community with an update on the work the district does that ensures safe and reliable water supply in this difficult time and as we prepare for the future. There's no question that the coronavirus pandemic has deeply affected our community. In this time, as always, We know that the Goleta Valley depends on the stability and certainty the district provides. The district's responsibility is simple to describe, but profound, delivering a reliable supply of quality water every time you turn on your tap. And the district does that every hour of every day. The people who work at the district, the people who are the district, are community members doing this essential job. They do it with determination and dedication. As a community member myself, I am grateful that the Goleta Water District operations crews are at work. The treatment plant operators, the engineering department, the water supply management team, all are at work. And that administration of the district's efforts continues seamlessly. That is thanks in no small measure to the can-do attitude of this workforce and to their leadership at the district, starting with the general manager of the district, John McGinnis, and assistant general manager, David Matson. My board colleagues and I are fortunate to work with such a dedicated, capable, and smart group. On the subject of water quality in the time of COVID, of course, the district follows all guidelines issued by the California Department of Public Health, as well as those from the Federal Centers for Disease Control, the CDC. California's safe drinking water standards require a multi-step treatment process with filtration and disinfection to remove and kill viruses, including coronaviruses, as well as bacteria and other pathogens. The Environmental Protection Agency, the World Health Organization, and the CDC all state that the risk to water supplies throughout the world is low. And it's very important to know that the World Health Organization reports that the COVID-19 virus has not been detected in drinking water supplies. The district also coordinates with state and local county officials on a routine basis regarding the COVID-19 pandemic. The district very early on implemented protocols for the protection of the public and the district's workforce to safely keep all essential operations going. Our customer service counter has been closed to walk-ins, but staff remains available to assist you by phone and online. Per the governor's order, our board and committee meetings have been conducted by public teleconferencing since April. Starting in January, they'll be conducted by public video conferencing until we can return safely to in-person meetings. We recognize that members of our community have been personally affected by the pandemic in many, many different ways. If you are having trouble paying your water bill, the district can work with you, and there are programs in place to assist you. All it takes is a phone call to the district. Just as we've all had to make changes to the way we are living our lives during the pandemic, the district has had to adjust the way it does its daily business, as I've outlined. One thing that hasn't changed is the many long-term issues that face this district and virtually all public water service providers. Preparing our large, complex water system for the future is ongoing, serious work. It involves balancing investment in infrastructure with extending the service life of key components when possible, and careful operation and maintenance of the system, all for the purpose of maintaining the level of service our community expects. Several years out now from the recent drought, the district's water supply outlook is much improved, with the full allocation from Lake Cachuma this year, and other parts of our water supply portfolio recovering as well. But in the aftermath of that epic drought and the wildfires that ravaged the Cachuma watershed, the district, like other South Coast water agencies, continues to face changing and challenging water quality conditions. That's why we have done and continue to do everything we can to protect the Goleta groundwater basin that is such an important natural resource for the people of the Goleta Valley. I'm pleased to say that the district currently relies on a mix of local water supplies, surface water from Lake Cachuma and groundwater from the Goleta groundwater basin. These are the key water supply sources the district was able to deploy during the drought. The work we did at that time helped us to prepare for a future of significant climate change and to be able to adapt to new and possibly very different circumstances. This type of readiness comes at higher cost in operating the district's wells, enhancing water treatment, and moving water throughout the system. Critical investments in treatment and delivery systems are ongoing and remain a keystone to maintaining system reliability. Without question, this has been a challenging year for everyone and has stretched everyone's resources and endurance. For the Goleta Water District, the state of our water outlook is stronger than it has been in many years. Continued implementation of all of our safety measures, continued smart daily operations, and the district's ongoing strategic planning will form the foundation for our continued success in providing an essential lifeline service now and long into the future. Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Janet Garufas, and it's my privilege to serve as the Chairman and CEO of Montecito Bank and Trust. As the presenting sponsor and a proud board member of the newly formed Santa Barbara South Coast Chamber, it is my honor to speak with you today. I want to thank the Chamber for hosting this forum and to congratulate the leadership of the Carpinteria, Santa Barbara, and Goleta Chambers of Commerce. They are now together the voice of business in our region. The right next step as we all navigate these very difficult times. Our world has changed. The choices we make now to support our community members and our local businesses from the economic impacts of the pandemic will leave a lasting imprint on the future of the Central Coast. This is a defining moment for our communities, and it certainly has been a defining moment for Montecito Bank and Trust and our associates. Whether face-to-face in our branches or at home, remotely, each of our associates has maneuvered through their own personal pandemic response to serve our communities, and they have been present in a way that is at the core of what community banking is all about. I've been incredibly proud to lead our team, and I'm certain a lot of you, business owners and leaders, have seen the same kind of camaraderie and dedication to get the job done in your businesses. We are proud to continue to work alongside you. This is certainly one of the greatest challenges of our time, but I know that our communities will prevail if we just stick together. And now I have the honor of introducing a very special team. Santa Barbara County's amazing healthcare providers continue working tirelessly to keep us all safe and to heal those who have contracted COVID-19. We can only imagine how challenging this time has been for them, and we are so grateful for all the ways they have sacrificed to take care of us. It is absolutely my privilege to introduce Arie Dejong, Vice President of Goleta Valley Cottage Hospital.
Hello everyone, I'm Arie Dejong, and I'm honored to serve as the Vice President of Goleta Valley Cottage Hospital, Cottage Rehabilitation Hospital, and Therapy Services for Cottage Health. I'll have the chance to touch on some exciting upcoming developments for the GVCH campus. But first, Dr. Lynn Fitzgibbons, Infectious Disease Physician for Cottage Health, and Dr. Robin Malone, Chief of Staff for GVCH, will touch on the subject close to all of our hearts and minds, the latest on the COVID-19 pandemic and our response to it. Dr. Fitzgibbons and Malone.
Hi, my name is Dr. Lynn Fitzgibbons. I'm an infectious disease specialist with Cottage Health. It has been quite a year. We've had a wealth of information around our community, around our county, but today I'm here to talk specifically about the Goleta Valley, including where this COVID pandemic has left us here and now. Looking at the county data for the last month, we see daily cases slowly rising. As perhaps the best early indicator that cases are continuing to rise, we look at a different measure. Here we see the green line, which shows us new cases by report date, meaning cases that were literally reported today, yesterday, or the day before. And unfortunately, not only do we see the overwhelming upswing of our cases over these last 3 weeks, but we see, of course, that this green line is trending farther up. What's going on in Goleta, though? In Goleta, we have the luxury now of a new dashboard, a partnership between the County of Santa Barbara, Legacy Works, Cottage Health, and many other community partners to enable us to look really by very specific geography around our county. What I've done here is pull up the dashboard under the Geography tab, and I've really singled out 3 very critical communities to the surge of COVID-19 in the Goleta area. We're looking here, of course, at the city of Goleta, at Isla Vista, and of unincorporated and the regional non-city parts of Goleta. What we see overwhelmingly was the surge that occurred in Isla Vista, particularly over these last 3 weeks. And we know that our public health officials, our university officials, and our incredible leadership around Isla Vista is working hard to contain that surge. If I remove the Isla Vista surge and look more specifically at Goleta at large, the city of Goleta, and again, unincorporated regions surrounding the city of Goleta, what we see, if we go back to the beginning of the pandemic, is that things were slow. And as the summer surge hit our entire region, indeed our entire state and country, we certainly felt that with our numbers in Goleta. Unfortunately, over these last 3 weeks, even here in the city of Goleta and unincorporated Goleta around Goleta Valley, we are again seeing the surge that the rest of the county, the rest of the state, and indeed the rest of the nation is starting to see. The good news is the numbers are still lower, but the bad news is the numbers are trending upwards. And again, drilling down really specifically to these last 10, 14 days, again, we see day over day more cases being diagnosed around the Goleta area. Some final thoughts. We are clearly entering a new chapter with this pandemic. The surge that we are experiencing now and anticipate will continue for the near future is going to be unlike any part of the pandemic thus far. It's apples to oranges. The surge that occurred over the summer was different. We knew less, we had less access to testing, and in many ways the environment was different. What we're facing now is perhaps of greater magnitude, but we go into it better armed. Our community is better prepared really than ever before. And in large part, this is thanks to the efforts of Goleta Valley Cottage Hospital, the staff, the physicians, the leadership. We also, of course, now in the region have the Cottage Urgent Care Clinics, where they will continue to provide excellent, safe medical care to our community. I'd like to thank everyone for their perseverance, their resilience, and also for sincerely coming together as a Goleta community during this COVID pandemic. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Robin Malone. I'm an emergency physician and the Chief of Staff at Goleta Valley Cottage Hospital. And I'm here to let you know that Goleta Valley Cottage Hospital is open and fully functioning for your healthcare needs. Beginning in March, new protocols were implemented to ensure that those who need acute medical care can be treated safely for ongoing care throughout our COVID-19 response. Patients with symptoms of COVID-19 are cared for in negative pressure isolation rooms in the emergency department to prevent risk of infection to others. Thanks to planning and procurement by hospital administration, as well as a generous outpouring of support from the community, our supply of personal protective equipment, PPE, has been sufficient. Those patients who are diagnosed with COVID-19 and require admission to the hospital are sent to Santa Barbara Cottage Hospital to be cared for on one of the COVID isolation units. Those stable for discharge home, but with risk for factors for respiratory complications, are given a portable pulse oximeter for home oxygen measurement, as well as detailed instructions regarding when to return to the hospital. At times, depending on the level of COVID-19 in our community, visitors have not been able to come into the hospital. Currently, patients are allowed one visitor in the hospital, with the exception of those being evaluated or treated for COVID-19. Patients scheduled for outpatient procedures and those with an order from their primary care physician can receive COVID-19 testing at the PDL tent, located outside of the Goleta Valley Cottage Hospital Emergency Department. The PDL tent has been an invaluable resource for testing in the Goleta community and frees up the emergency department for those needing acute medical care. In closing, I would like to thank the Goleta community for its diligence with social distancing and adherence to mask wearing. This has allowed our hospitals and healthcare providers to function and care for the usual ongoing medical needs without being overwhelmed by COVID patients. I would urge you to seek prompt care for all medical emergencies. It is safe to do so. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Fitzgibbons and Malone, for your report on the pandemic and our response to it. I have the privilege of sharing some exciting news for the city of Goleta and the GVCH campus. Cottage is planning to relocate the entire Cottage Rehabilitation Hospital located on De La Vina Street in Santa Barbara to the GVCH campus by the end of 2023. As the premier rehabilitation facility between Los Angeles and the Bay Area, CRH specializes in treating patients with medical rehabilitation needs, such as those recovering from a traumatic brain injury, a spinal cord injury, stroke, or any condition requiring medical rehabilitation. CRH holds 4 specialty program certifications for comprehensive integrated inpatient rehabilitation, for brain injury, stroke, and for spinal cord injury care. Last year, Cottage Rehabilitation Hospital provided care to 661 inpatients, and more than 91% of those were able to return home or a home-like setting. The new CRH, to be located at GVCH, will offer state-of-the-art technology to accompany highly trained and compassionate staff in the areas of physical therapy, speech therapy, and occupational therapy, along with psychology, neuropsychology, and therapeutic recreation. The building on De La Vina has significant challenges and is no longer seismically compliant for inpatient rehabilitation past 2030. The rooms are semi-private and the campus is constrained. A move to GVCH will feature all private rooms and a campus with more external spaces for healing and therapy. The move will bring approximately 30 inpatients per day into the existing GVCH building, approximately 16,000 outpatient therapy visits, and a entirely new aquatic center. The move to CRH to GVCH will require an aesthetic refresh and redesign of the main lobby to accommodate additional patients and visitors. And the outpatient entrance will be redesigned to accommodate a substantial increase in traffic with the addition of outpatient services from CRH. The expanded CRH outpatient gym will bring state-of-the-art lifts and rehabilitation technology to serve patients' physical, speech, occupational therapy needs, along with psychology and therapeutic recreation. The newly designed inpatient spaces will feature indoor and outdoor gathering and treatment spaces for patients and families, and new and updated all-private inpatient rooms. The inside of the GVCH CRH campus will be state-of-the-art, but the outside will also feature gathering spaces for patients and families, including the restorative therapeutic garden, and the new aquatic center to treat inpatients, outpatients, and the community with aquatic and recreational therapy. The gorgeous new feature is a true gem to have for any rehabilitation hospital, and we are truly lucky to have it on our new Goleta campus. Construction will begin in 2021 with an opening scheduled for the end of 2023. The move will bring approximately 175 additional staff to the Goleta campus. I'm so excited to announce our new Goleta Valley Medical Office building as well, which is located at 454 South Patterson, to bring even more clinicians to the GVCH campus. One of our priorities is to improve access to primary and specialty care across our entire region. Another example of this is the opening of the 2 new urgent care centers in Goleta, one at Hollister Village near Costco and Home Depot, and the other on Cala Real near Trader Joe's. These new urgent care centers are open 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. each day and offer quick visits and extremely high patient satisfaction. Yet another offering from Cottage Health to meet patient needs where they live and work is Cottage Virtual Care for fast online diagnosis and treatment. Increasing access to care in our community is so important now more than ever. Goleta Valley Cottage Hospital's ED was an early adopter of the Patient Resource Connect program, working with community partners to screen patients for social needs to help keep them healthy after they leave the hospital. The program resulted from listening tours throughout the community to identify where needs exist and where barriers are to maintaining good health. We know that if people struggle with access to food, housing, and transportation, it impacts their overall health. This program helps connect people with resources. The program has expanded to screen patients at Santa Ynez Valley Cottage Hospital's ED and our virtual care platform as well. The program has helped hundreds of community members so far, filling a vital need for some of our most vulnerable neighbors. We quickly put safety precautions in place to continue safe care for the community. Our teams have been working 24/7 to provide safe care, and we are so thankful for your partnership in these efforts. I want to just let you all know we are so appreciative of the support of this community and what it's shown for our frontline healthcare workers throughout the pandemic response. It has really meant a lot, from cards and messages to partnering for PPE technology, to donating of the care fund, to support emergency response, to being diligent about the daily safety precautions we take so seriously in this community, and what it takes to keep ourselves safe. Wearing masks, avoiding gatherings, and keeping safe distances. I also want to take a minute to thank Kristen for being part of a county-wide Masked and Mighty safety outreach effort to spread the word about keeping the community safe. The coalition, which Dr. Fitzgibbons has been an integral part of, includes healthcare and education partners from throughout the county, working together to help protect our communities. Cottage is happy to be a part of this effort. Thanks again to you all for your hard work and your sacrifices as we get through this together.
Hello, I'm Kirsten McLaughlin, Market Vice President for Cox Communications. I'm thrilled to have the honor of wrapping up today's Goleta State of the City. What a fantastic event. First, a huge thank you to the entire team at our newly merged Santa Barbara South Coast Chamber of Commerce for your continued hard work on behalf of our local businesses during these incredibly challenging and unpredictable times. This year's event has certainly been different than normal. On behalf of the entire chamber, a heartfelt thank you to each of our sponsors today, and to our speakers for your insights and your commitment to Goleta. Here at Cox Communications, we know our customers are more reliant on us than ever, with so much of our work, school, and personal lives happening virtually, and we don't take that responsibility lightly. We have invested $15 billion in our infrastructure across the country over the past 10 years, and we are currently investing another $10 billion over the next 5 years to enhance our network and enable future technologies, including many projects right here on the South Coast. We have seen about 2 years worth of growth in network usage since the governor's stay-at-home order in March, and continue to see this climb as more of our neighbors are working and learning from home. Given this unparalleled demand, we have accelerated many local network upgrade projects to meet your needs now in these unprecedented times. Additionally, we're in the middle of our huge renovation project at our campus here in Goleta. The cornerstone of this project is a brand new critical facility, the building that holds all the back-end equipment and technology that powers our services throughout the area, or as I like to call it, the brains of the operation. When the new critical facility is complete and online next year, it will power the smart homes, businesses, and communities of today and well into the future. As many of you know, we have also doubled down on our efforts to support our customers and our community this year. As students return to the classroom virtually this fall, we collaborated with all of our local school districts and have been working hand in hand with Goleta Union, Santa Barbara Unified, and Partners in Education to bridge the digital divide here in Goleta through our Connect to Compete program and providing grants to ensure all students have the tools they need to succeed virtually. And we continue to provide education and COVID relief grants to our local nonprofits. Cox is so proud to be a part of this amazing Goleta community. Thank you for your commitment to our community, and thank you for joining us for today's Goleta State of the City.